Hello, everyone. I'm so thankful that you're all here today. My name is Mandy Chalk, and I'm with the Passport Office. And today we've got representatives from IUPUI's Dental Hygiene and Dental Assisting Program.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for having us. My name is Lisa Maxwell. I'm the Dental Hygiene Program Director. And I apologize, I'm not going to stand up. I sprained my ankle, and so you're going to get me sitting down here. So I think basically people have a lot of questions about, what can, how do I get into the program? What are the prerequisites? Is this a part-time program or a full-time program? Those are the types of questions that we tend to get a lot. So the dental hygiene program is a full-time program. It is not online. And so that could be kind of difficult for people if they have, family issues that would require them to, go part-time or something like that. So I tell prospective students that they should plan on being at school from 8 to 5 days a week. And it's like going to a job. So that's their day in and day out. Occasionally, you'll have an afternoon off here or there, but in particular, that's how the schedule is. Dental assisting, and Michelle will talk about it a little bit more here shortly, but it's a little different, and they do have off-site programs as well as on-campus programs. But to talk about students from Ivy Tech, that want to transfer to IUPUI to take the program, all Ivy Tech students can get all their prereqs done at Ivy Tech before transferring to IUPUI to apply to the program. So that's something that I want to make sure that everybody understands. We don't give preferential treatment to IUPUI students. We take students based on GPA, and it doesn't matter to us where they come from. It just so happens the majority come from IUPUI, but our next largest group of students come from Ivy Tech, from several Ivy Techs, not just the Indianapolis location. I did give you a handout that gives you the prereq transfer, so the Ivy Tech course numbers and how they transfer over to IUPUI. So if you're looking and you're curious, it's not on our website, so if you're curious about which classes to take at Ivy Tech, this is what you take. Let me make sure. Okay, you did get that right.
And is this a bachelor's degree?
It is a bachelor's degree. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Bachelor's, yes.
Bachelor's, yes.
And if I can ask one thing, so
Sure.
the sheet that you're referring to, the sheet that's prerequisite transfers for dental hygiene. No math in there. Is there any? What math do they have to have a college level math?
Analytical reasoning is our gen ed math, and we would prefer finite or higher. But it's not a prereq to get into the program. It is a course that you have to graduate so that you fulfill your state gen ed, but it's not a prereq for the program. So we have our degree map, which is the black and white one. So it tells you how everything breaks down. We've got the analytical reasoning built into the third year in the fall for a student who wants to take it then, and then stats the semester after. One thing I want to be clear about is the stats class that's required for dental hygiene is a 300 level stats class. So you cannot take a stats class at Ivy Tech and have it be equivalent. And so that's kind of been some confusion in the past. So just to be clear about that. Also, if you look at the degree map, our program can be done in 3.5 years. So that's the uniqueness about a bachelor's degree, in that it's 3.5 years long. You go through 2 summers, and we graduate in December, not in May. So you actually graduate a semester earlier than the typical 4-year bachelor's degree, which was kind of nice. We did that intentionally because we're competing with 6 other dental hygiene programs in the state. And so we want our applicants to be able to get jobs and not have to compete with all the other students at the same time. So we think that that gives them an advantage. Also, we have the last 2 semesters of the program break out into 2 separate tracks for students to choose which track they would like to attend. One is public health administration and the other is public health dental hygiene. So the coursework that they take for those 2 classes are at Fairbanks School of Public Health on IUPUI's campus. So it gives people a specialization to go along with their dental hygiene degree. And the intent for that also was so that it makes them more employable down the road. An associate degree for dental hygiene, for clinical dental hygiene is fine. Across the country, that tends to be the majority of the programs are associate degree dental assisting programs. However, dental hygienists don't typically stay in private practice, clinical hygiene forever. They want to branch out, they want to do other things. If you want to branch out, you have to have a bachelor's degree to do anything dental related. So with a bachelor's degree, you could potentially go work for a dental supply company, instrument makers, there's sales positions with Crest, Colgate, things like that. But also with the public health tracks, you could potentially go and be like an office manager at a clinical site, or you could do public health dental hygiene at like a county health department, where you're actually putting together programs for communities, health fairs, dental health fairs, education type things like that. So it gives them some options then for down the road as far as what they want to do with their career. So the public health courses do tend to be online offerings. So those last 2 semesters, you could potentially be taking some online courses and not attend IUPUI very much. But the first 2 years, you're definitely on campus. It's really important for students to understand the GPA requirements. We will accept a minimum science GPA of 3.0. However, the students that actually come into the program tend to have a science GPA of 3.6 or higher. And so when we look at that science GPA, we're looking at the prereq sciences, not just, every single science class you've ever taken. We're looking at the prereq science classes. And then your cumulative GPA is a 2.7. But again, people that get into the program tend to have 3.6 or higher. So our application then is open from November 1st to February 1st. And with the application, it's an online system. It's called DHCAS. And so you upload all your information into that website. So what I usually recommend is around December, after you get your first semester of prereqs done, you go ahead and start filling out your application, because they're going to want a transcript. And so you're going to fill out your application, you're going to send your transcript to DHCAS, and it's going to be an official one. And you'll also have to do 8 hours of observation within 2 different dental offices. So you can do 4 hours at one and 4 hours at another. And also you'll have a personal statement to write. And the instructions for it are on the website, and they are in the application. So it's, why do I want to be a dental hygienist? But we also ask, what are things that you've done to prepare you for the job? Have you researched the degree? Do you know what the job entails? So I always tell people when they ask, what makes a good application, I think your personal statement is really, really important. So what I don't want to see in a personal statement is, I love teeth, I've always loved teeth since I was 5, and so that's why I want to be a hygienist. I don't care. Obviously you do, or you wouldn't want to be a hygienist, because no one chooses to pick teeth for a living unless they're weird like the rest of us, right? So it's true. We're weird people. So yeah, don't tell me that. Tell me what you've done. Have you done any kind of community outreach or any kind of community service? Things like that can really set you apart from other applicants. And then this year we instituted interviews. So we're interviewing applicants as well. That's something that we used to do back in the day, and we got away from it for a while, but it's coming back again, because it's really hard to tell on paper, when you have an applicant that is separated by another applicant by, you know, 1/10 of a percentage point, you don't get a real sense of who that applicant is. So the personal statement helps, but the interview allows those students to kind of expand upon what they wrote about in their personal statement and really bring home, you know, who they are as an individual. So we have standardized questions and standardized rubric that we use, and it also is part of the application as far as picking the applicant. So when you finish your prereqs, so usually people will finish them, you know, in the spring semester. As soon as you get your final transcripts, you upload it to the DHCAS application, but you send the program your unofficial transcripts because you can usually get those sooner. And then we rank all the applicants, and then usually around Memorial Day, definitely by the 1st of June, we will choose our class and we notify people by email through the DHCAS system and in snail mail, whether you've been accepted into the program or not. We accept 20 students. So this year we had, how many do we have? We had like, I want to say 55 applicants for 20 spots. So yes, it is, it can be difficult. It's very competitive, but you know, if you want to do it bad enough, you know, you try. If you don't get in, please make an appointment to see me to find out where you went wrong or what happened with your application to see if we can strengthen it for next year so you can apply again next year. Sometimes it's retaking our class. Sometimes it's just boosting your personal statement. You know, but it helps to just talk about it and see how we can change it, fix it, bring it in. So in the application packet towards the back, let me see. There's the fees based on tuition fees for 2018, 2019, so you can see the cost there. There's also a fact sheet about dental hygienists. There's another fact sheet that compares dental assistants, dental hygienists, and dentists. And then in the middle of the packet, there's a profile of entering hygiene students. So it kind of lets you know, so for the past year, what the applicants look like for our year. So we had an overall GPA of 3.7 and average science GPA of also 3.77. And there's a list of colleges attended for prereqs. We had a couple out of state people. No gentlemen in the class this year, but we have a male student in the second year class. We have a couple of applicants this year that are men. So it's not, you know, it's kind of like nursing, you know, or it's not typically a male-dominated, you know, profession. But I can tell you, I like having men in the class because they kind of tend to mellow out the crazy. The girls get a little drama-ish, and it just kind of helps. So I'll let Michelle talk about dental assisting, and then at the end we can answer whatever questions you have.
We just launched a new website, so there are a few glitches with the website, particularly on the hygiene page. When you click on the degree maps, then it wants your IUPUI login. So that will get fixed. It just isn't fixed at this exact moment, but you do have the information in the packet. So the website will stay tuned, but we're just dentistry.iu.edu. And so the homepage will take you where you need to be. So if we go to academics and degrees and programs, you scroll through everything that the School of Dentistry offers. And we're here to talk about our undergraduate programs. So you've seen we have a couple pages for the BS in dental hygiene, and then we have our certificate in dental assistant. So we've got that certificate program. And so there is another packet. We just have one packet of information on the table. And so even if you didn't grab it, feel free to pick one up on your way out, even if you are mostly interested in hygiene, just so you have all the information. Just like hygiene, you have to be admitted to IUPUI as an undergraduate student. So that is step number one for applying to either of our programs, is to apply to IUPUI. And their deadline every year is May 1st. So when you're interested in applying to hygiene, you have to be a little more on the ball with your IUPUI application, because hygiene is February 1st. The dental assisting application deadline is later. We are in the middle of our admission cycle right now. We're accepting applicants for fall of 2019, and our deadline every year is June 15th. And that's our priority deadline. In the event that we don't fill the class, we will continue to accept applications and supporting documents basically until school starts in August. So if that happens, we will continue to accept applications, but our priority deadline to be ranked with all the other applicants and decided on around July 1st is June 15th. And then we get everybody in the system and we look at GPA as well. We don't have any prerequisites. So when you get down to our admissions requirements, we talk about GPAs, but we don't have any prerequisite courses. So we take students right out of high school, which isn't really pertinent for the Ivy Tech situation. You're obviously not right out of high school. You have already entered college at Ivy Tech. And many of our students have. We have a lot of students who have been in the Ivy Tech system and are transferring to IUPUI with the 2+2 or the passport program. And so don't let that deter you just because we don't have prereqs. So we look at your high school cumulative GPA, and then we will look at all science courses taken at the high school and college level. So anything you would have taken in the life science category at Ivy Tech, and we calculate a GPA for science courses, and then we calculate an English GPA for any of the English literature writing classes that you've taken in high school and in college, say at Ivy Tech. And so we get a lot of students that have started their college path at Ivy Tech, at IUPUI. They've taken some gen ed courses, they've taken those 100, 200 level writing, math, science. They're not really sure where they're going. Maybe they thought about hygiene, changed their mind. Maybe they started taking some prereqs, decided they want to start in dental assisting. So most of our dental assisting applicants have had college, even though we don't require it. So that's how we rank the applicants, is to look at, since we don't have college prereqs, we do look at the cumulative high school GPA, and then we do look at any college and high school science and English. And that's how we make our admissions decisions. We have 2 tracks for our program. We have the traditional campus program that is similar to what Lisa was talking about, as far as you're at school basically 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. It's your traditional kind of college experience where you're there all day. Actually, it's more than the traditional college experience because you're there like a job, basically 40 hours a week. And so we have that similar situation fall and spring. So we accept students in the summertime. We start in August, we graduate in May. So it's just a fall and spring 9-month curriculum. Get in, get out, and get in the workforce if you want to, or you can stay at IUPUI as a student and complete a bachelor's degree with courses you've already taken at Ivy Tech, dental assisting certificate courses, and then there are 5 degrees that are currently taking our credits at IUPUI we're working with, and there's a list of them there's not a list in your packet, but here they are with links on our website to each of them. Sometimes the quickest way to the bachelor's degree is general studies, and nobody really enters into college thinking, you know what, I'm going to study general studies. That's what I want to get a degree in. But it's a very popular degree, and it's a great choice for students who've taken a lot of courses and are pretty close to a degree. They go into general studies, they take 30 of our credit hours and then combine that with the other general education and elective courses that you take and create you a degree. And it's a great option for dental assisting graduates. We also work with organization leadership and supervision at IUPUI. They directly admit our students, so there's not like a separate application process. So our graduates from dental assisting are directly admitted to the OLS bachelor's degree. And it's a little bit businessy psychology of organizations and human behavior and that type of thing. And so it's a great partnership with a health sciences background. So they love taking our students. We've had a lot of students go into that degree because it's basically designed for the working adult. A lot of their classes are either in the evening or online. And so it's great for our dental assisting graduates because they might be working part-time or full-time during the day at a dental office and working on this degree on the side, either as a full-time or a part-time student online and in the evening. So it's been great for our graduates. That's public health, which is different than dental hygiene public health, although some of the courses are similar or the same. But the School of Public Health at IUPUI will also take some of our dental assisting credits toward a bachelor's degree from their school. We also have health sciences and individualized major, which is kind of a create your own degree at IUPUI where you work with an advisor in the School of Liberal Arts and you write a proposal with the advisor for why this degree doesn't already exist and why you need it. We haven't had someone do this in a long time. There's one of our graduates who also became a paramedic, and so she has a really interesting course history, and I was trying to talk her into talking to an individualized major program to kind of create a health education track for herself, and I don't think she's done that yet. So we've got a great set of opportunities for bachelor's degree seeking students who are also interested in dental assisting. And it's a similar situation that Lisa was already talking with you about, where do you need a bachelor's degree to work as a dental hygienist or a dental assistant in Indiana? You don't. It's not the law. You don't have to have a bachelor's degree, but there are reasons that you might want to get a bachelor's degree. And that's kind of where dental hygiene education is going. There are now a lot, I mean, some states even require it, don't they? So it's, that aside from moving on from clinical practice, that's just kind of the trend for hygiene education. And assisting, it's more about what Lisa was talking about, where you don't need that to work. You will have a job just fine with or without a bachelor's degree, but you may not want to be a clinician for your entire career. You might want to go into education or sales or any of the other dental companies. So, dentistry is a huge industry with lots of different ways to work in dentistry. And a lot of people who are working for the companies that make dentistry happen are clinicians. They've worked for years as an assistant, they've worked for years as a hygienist, they went back to school, got a master's or a bachelor's, and are now working in the business of dentistry or the education of dentistry, technology of dentistry. So there are a lot of job opportunities for students who have worked as a clinician and have also completed further education at the bachelor's or master's level. And so we have a lot of students who they're so close, they've taken 60, 80, 90 credit hours. And while they are entering the workforce now, they don't need a bachelor's degree, they go ahead and get one because they're so close and recognize that it will open doors for them in the future. So it's a great way to enter a workforce and continue your education. That's kind of one of the paths we are advertising with assisting, especially students that need to work while they're in school. It's a great salary for a short amount of education, and then you can make a little more money working as a dental assistant than you might if you were, waiting tables or working in retail or something like that. So you can work less hours for the same amount of money that you might typically earn in a typical college job. So it's a popular path for students who need to work while they're in school. Speaking of working while you're in school, we do have the campus track that I already talked about, where you're in school 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We also have a distance learning track, and so we offer where students they're not always non-traditional. Sometimes they're traditional students, but for whatever reason, they just chose the online path. But a lot of our distance learning students have family or work commitments that would prevent them from being in school like a full-time job, 40 hours a week. And so it's a great path for those students. It's a little bit more flexible in the scheduling because you can be doing your homework at 2 in the morning if you want to, where the rest of us are asleep and you're busy at work. And so all of the bookwork stuff, all the textbook stuff, all of the classroom kind of activities is all delivered online through our online learning system, Canvas. That's our Blackboard at Ivy Tech, right?
Oh, your Canvas.
Your Canvas now? So everybody that does make it easy. So you already know about Canvas. And then you can't learn everything about dental assisting online, so we do have some Saturday labs. And so it's usually twice a month that you would have to come to the IU School of Dentistry and IUPUI and do some lab activities. And some of the exams are done on Saturdays as well. And then to get your clinical experience, because all of the health programs are going to have clinical experience, in the Canvas program and the Hygiene program, your clinical experience is basically housed at the dental school with a few off-site locations. But for the distance learning track, you would then have a sponsoring dentist where an office in your community or close to where you live, and that's where you will complete your clinic hours instead of doing it at the dental school. So it's a good two-path option for traditional on-campus experience or a distance learning. And you do have to pick in the application process so that you're applying to either the distance learning or the campus track. Okay, so step 1, IUPUI, May 1st is the deadline, June 15th is the assisting deadline. We also have an online application. It's different than the DHCAS. It's our own in-house online deal that links from our webpage. So once you've applied to IUPUI, you can apply to dental assisting. We also require an observation in 2 offices. And so part of that, you'll upload the verification of observing a dental assistant. Sometimes we have the question, well, I also am applying to dental hygiene. I observed a hygienist. Can I use that as my assisting observation? And we're not trying to be, picky, but no, it's not the same job. And so if you didn't also get to observe the assistant in your observation in the office, we'll have you do a separate one because they are different paths, they are different jobs and careers, and so we want you to understand, we want you to have seen a day in the life of a dental assistant, not just a day in the life of a hygienist before you apply to our program. We are no longer requiring personal statements. I agree with everything that Lisa said about personal statements, but I didn't win that battle in our recent admission requirement changes. So we are no longer doing personal statements, and I will miss them greatly because it's a nice window into the applicant compared to just looking at the transcripts. Because your transcripts and your GPAs don't always tell the whole story, but that's just life. I lost that battle. We're not doing personal statements. We do also require official transcripts, and so even though you have to do them for your IUPUI transfer, you'll also have to do them for us. And so we haven't found a good workaround for that currently, so we are requiring that you not only do your official transcripts for your IUPUI application, but also send the dental assisting program official copies. We are the 2-semester curriculum, 30 credit hours of 1 to 300 level courses. So in the packet is a list of all of the courses for fall and spring, so you can look at those. Little shout out to the bachelor degree process that I talked about, which is becoming more and more popular. I also have worked out a general studies path for students who are interested in obtaining a certificate in dental assisting and going to dental school to become a dentist. And so I have a path worked out for 120 credit hour general studies degree that includes the prereqs for dental school and the dental assisting certificate, which is a good idea for people who want to get a little experience in dentistry before they actually apply to dental school. One of our recent graduates is a first-year dental student right now, and I have about 5 others that are currently either about to apply to dental school, have applied, or will apply in the next 2 years. So it's becoming kind of a popular thing, and it's gives you a good leg up. We also have a lot of students that go on to hygiene school. It's not it's not a direct stepping stone to the dental hygiene program, but they do consider it in the ranking a tiny little bonus point for if you have gone to an accredited dental assisting program, a CODA accredited dental assisting program, or have a few years of assisting experience. So it is, it's not gonna make or break your application. You still have to hit those grades with your hygiene application and your cumulative and science GPAs, but it can give you a little edge with your application. And there are a couple of courses that then you don't have to take. There are several courses that are the same in the assisting program and hygiene program, and so it is a little bit of a saver in the first year of the hygiene program where you wouldn't have to take the first semester of radiology, medical emergencies, a couple of other ones.
No, it does take off some classes.
It does take off a couple of classes. Yeah.
So do you look more favorably, do they get a leg up when they apply to dental hygiene? I know it's not a direct pathway.
We give bonus points for people who already have a degree or they have, so we have 5 bonus points. And you get 1 to 5 depending on how many credit hours of college you already have, if you've already graduated from a dental assisting program, if you have experience working as a dental assistant. So all those things could, it could potentially move you up on the list above somebody else.
Does it help to get into be a dentist, either one? Is it help?
They look kindly. I don't think they have the same kind of, they have their own ranking system, and I don't know that they have, if it moves you up and down officially with numbers, but they do look kindly on dental experience, because if you are already a hygienist or already an assistant, you've worked in dentistry, you obviously understand what it means to work in dentistry, you understand what it means to be a dentist, and so they do look favorably on applicants to the predoctoral program that have experience in dentistry, either as a hygienist or an assistant. And it is a huge advantage because you already know the lingo. There's a whole language to any of the health career, any career really. If you want to go to engineering school, you're going to learn some terms you didn't know before you were in engineering school. And same thing if you're going to nursing or medicine or dentistry, there are a whole lot of terms and structures and things that, while you may not get official credit for dental assisting or hygiene courses you took, you're not going to get out of any courses in dental school. You are certainly going to have an edge up and kind of breeze through some of that stuff a little easier because,
call it IUPUI technical certificate, career certificate, because I would tech,
they have the technical certificate. It's just certificate in dental assisting. They don't have that technical certificate term at IUPUI. All the certificates are just called certificate. And so we don't require moving on to a bachelor's degree. We don't have an associate's degree like Ivy Tech does for dental assisting. And so it's either a standalone certificate or staying on as an IUPUI student to earn a bachelor's degree.
There's no associate in dental hygiene, right?
Not anymore. No, we did away with it. The only associate degree in dental hygiene are the 2 Ivy Tech hygiene programs. The state. Yeah. The other 5 in the state are all bachelor's degrees.
It's getting harder and harder to get jobs without better education, especially because the younger doctors, they want their employees to know something. The dental assisting job market is excellent currently, where our graduates are immediately hired. We have a job board for IU alumni and so community dentists can post for both of our programs, both of our graduates and our alumni. And so currently dental assisting is still very excellent. It's one of the growing jobs because there are fewer dentists and more dentists retiring, and so they can delegate more to assistants and hygienists to continue to see the same level of patients. The dental assisting job market is great. When you see some of our, somewhere on the website are statistics about that, we're never 100% every year because we always have students that choose not to go into the job market. So they stay in school full time, they go right into hygiene school, and so they take away from our statistics. But anybody who wants to get a job as a dental assistant leaving our program will get a job within 30 to 90 days.
That's a full-time placement?
Yeah, full-time placement. Yep. And there are part-time opportunities, but most of our graduates will do full-time employment, although there are some who do part-time. We hire a lot of people at the dental school. We have a temporary service for filling the gaps in dental assisting staff at the dental school. And a lot of our students that are staying in at IUPUI work in the temp pool so that they can do part-time work.
And dental hygiene also it's coming back. We took a hit with the recession. A lot of offices were letting their hygienists go because people lost their insurance and work took a dive, and it's been slow to come back. But I would say last year and this year, especially this year, I get a phone call at least once a day from an employer looking for a hygienist, and they're hiring. There's several websites. Facebook has a couple sites for hygienists to kind of network, and they are looking every day. So I'm not worried about it. It just kind of depends on what part of the state you're looking for a job. The Indy metro area is pretty robust, but if you go to some of the more rural areas, it just kind of depends. And people like to stay in the Indy area because the pay is better. So that's something else to consider too. You go more rural, there could be a $5 to $10 an hour difference between what they're making in Indy as opposed to other places in the state. But yeah, the job market right now is great, thankfully. Yeah.
And with our programs have this great reputation.
Yes, that they want graduates from the dental school as opposed to other things.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And then,
yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.